Hey everybody, it's been a while since I've put a video up. Had a lot of work going on and the holidays and all that kind of stuff. And I got a lot of input on my video regarding the Smith & Wesson Highway Patrolman Model 28 in brushed nickel finish. And I had sent out a letter to Smith & Wesson a long time ago, a request for their historian, Roy Jinks, to take a look and tell me about this model, whether it is indeed one of the rare Model 28s with the satin nickel finish, or whether it was refinished or anything like that. And a lot of my subscribers came back and, some people doubted it, and I understand that. Without a letter or anything like that, it's hard to believe it may be one of 50 of these type of revolvers in existence, and I totally understood that. And I only had my dad's story to go on, which I trusted, and I just wanted to vindicate it by getting the actual letter from Roy Jinks and Smith & Wesson. And looking through the files, I have some other documentation here I'm going to show you. But I've recently commented back to some comments on that original Model 28 video, saying that the letter just came back over the holidays, and you're going to get a look at that. It took a long time. I sent out a first request probably a year and a half ago, when I first started taking a look at this revolver. And it took Smith & Wesson a long time to come back. And I'd check in with them and they said, yeah, everything's fine. Roy's just backed up, things like that. And finally, I kept looking at my checking account thinking, okay, they haven't cashed my check yet. So that's obviously problematic. So after about, 6 months, 7 months of waiting, I just sent in another request and sent it certified mail and all that kind of stuff. Return receipt and all that. Got all that back, and it took them probably 4 or 5 months to get this letter. It took me 4 or 5 months to get this letter back, but I finally got it right over the Christmas holiday, which was kind of a nice Christmas present. So you can check out my other Model 28 video where I go through everything on this particular Highway Patrolman, a close-up look and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to see the actual revolver in detail, go ahead and check that video out. Right now I'm just going to focus mainly on the letters. So I'm actually going to set this aside and we're going to take a look, and I just blocked out obviously name and address, but I'm going to hope that stays pretty well blocked out there. I'm actually going to pick this up and get it a little closer to the camera here so you can maybe read it. Says, we received your letter of recent date in reference to your Highway Patrolman Model 28. They go through the history of the Model 28. It was developed by Smith & Wesson as an inexpensive, no-frills 357 Magnum to meet the requirements of law enforcement agencies for a powerful workhorse-style duty revolver. It says, although this new, I don't know if this is in frame, hopefully it is, although this new 357 Magnum revolver would have the fine interior lockwork as all Smith & Wessons, the exterior finish would be a dull brush blue finish rather than the high polish of the famous 357 Magnum. It says the first production revolvers of this new configuration, which had been named the Highway Patrolman, were completed in March of 1954, beginning at approximately S103-500 of the Smith & Wesson N-frame serial number series. Hopefully you can get some of that in there. I'll move the camera around. This is a little difficult to do here. And it says, the sales of the new revolver were strong, and Smith & Wesson knew they had produced a handgun which not only the law enforcement agencies were interested in, but the sportsmen as well. I'll let you read that. It says the Model 28, as it was designated in 1957, when model numbers were assigned, remained a popular handgun with law enforcement agencies and sportsmen until the fall of 1986, when it was finally discontinued. The popularity of this N-frame revolver had decreased as the various Smith & Wesson L-frame models became more available. So that's great. That's the history. Now, page 2 of the letter says here, we have received your Smith & Wesson, or we have researched your Smith & Wesson 357 Highway Patrolman Model 28-2 Special Finish Variation, caliber 357 Magnum revolver and company records, which indicate that your handgun with serial number N41083 was shipped from our factory on July 12, 1972 and was delivered to Precision Tool and Gun Company, Ithaca, New York. The records indicate that this revolver was shipped with a 4-inch barrel, satin nickel finish, and checkered walnut grips. And they say, we trust the information furnished will be helpful and of interest. And then the Smith & Wesson Roy Jinks historian signature and the embossed letterhead. So that's the letter I got back from Smith & Wesson, stating that it was shipped with a 4-inch barrel, satin nickel finish, and checkered walnut grips. So this model here, and this is the 28-2. Maybe you can see here if I can get it in focus. Maybe not. It's a bit tough to focus in this light. But this is the 28-2, and it is in satin nickel finish, checkered walnut grips, and it is the Highway Patrolman. Hopefully this is focusing. I think it does not like this light. But you can check out my other video. I go through all the details on it. So I have that letter. Now going through the files, I also have some other interesting things. So this was shipped to Precision Tool and Gun Company, Ithaca, New York, July 12th, 1972. I have the original purchase, which was made by my father. Here's the actual, and I'm covering up obviously the old address, but either way, purchased from Creekside Gun Shop in Holcomb, New York, which is not very far from Ithaca, New York. Purchased August 12th, 1972. And there you go, Smith & Wesson Model 28 revolver, 357 mag, 4-inch barrel, serial number, $150. He traded in Walther PPKS in 32 auto, and he got $95 for that trade-in. The balance due is $55 with $3.85 in tax. So in total, in 1972, August of 1972, this Highway Patrolman cost a grand total of $58.85. So that's kind of interesting. I like that original receipt. Now, at the time this was purchased, there was a question because obviously the Model 28 was in blue. My father knew that, and a buddy of his knew that, and there were 2 models from this batch that came to the gun shop. My dad purchased this one, and his friend purchased a different one. And his friend at the time actually sent us a letter to Smith & Wesson, which I didn't know about. And here's a copy of this letter that he sent August 16th, 1972. And it says, this is from Smith & Wesson, from Roy Jinks in 1972. He says, "Hey, dear Bill, I checked on the Model 28 serial number, which you called me on today. This revolver is one of 50 of this model, finished in a brushed nickel finish. This model is not standard in this finish and could not be ordered. These are rare occasions when to meet a police bid or contract that a few of the Model 28s will be finished in this manner. When this occurs, any of the guns which are surplus are sold through our normal commercial outlets. We hope that this information will be helpful to you." And then it's obviously signed Roy Jinks. So that's kind of a lot of detail on this revolver in particular. And I just wanted to bring that to everybody, especially, since found the original receipt, which is, it's kind of neat to find the original receipt from 1972 with this particular Smith & Wesson and see how much it costs. That's kind of neat to see. So I was glad to find that. And I also think it's pretty interesting that Roy Jinks, at the end of his letters, we hope that this information will be helpful to you. This is from 72, and we trust that this information furnished will be helpful and of interest. It's interesting that the letters are finished in that manner, similarities over, 40 years. So obviously it has nothing to do with the gun. I just personally find that interesting. So there's a little bit of the history, and the letters from Smith & Wesson, the original sales receipts, and I'm pretty confident, and I'm actually going to send a letter back to Smith & Wesson just to confirm that this is, again, one of 50. The original letter from 72 from Roy Jinks seems to confirm that. This gun and the other one purchased by my father's friend were of the same lot. And as I understand, these weren't consecutively serial numbered in these finishes. So they're from the same lot. The Smith & Wesson letter from 2013 in December that I just received, plus the letter that was sent in 1972 when my father and his friend both purchased the brushed satin nickel versions that came into the shop, seem to confirm that this is indeed the possibly one of 50 Highway Patrolmans in satin nickel finish. So I'm sure somebody will still, possibly maybe the trolls, I hate to call them out, but maybe some of the trolls will come back and say, yeah, but the 1972 letter was your dad's friend's, but You know, whenever you have the letter with this serial number straight from Smith & Wesson in 2013, and it does note that this revolver is in a satin nickel finish, and the 1972 letter and all the other history of the Highway Patrolman say that they're all in blue except for a few special versions that are in satin nickel, I'm pretty confident. I don't know how much more data you could get to be more confident that this particular model is possibly one of 50 in satin nickel finish, brushed nickel. So just thought I'd bring that to you for my first video back in a long time. If you sat through the whole thing, I hope you enjoyed it. You didn't get bored to death. I appreciate all the new subscribers. There have been a whole lot of new subscribers. I just want to welcome everybody. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. I do this just out of pure enjoyment and to document the collection of firearms that I have, and I appreciate all your comments, all your support. I get lots of great comments. Every once in a while I'll do a video on one of my guns, and you know, I'll in the haste of making a video, I'll misstate something, and I appreciate all the comments, all the genuine comments that are meant to correct. Those are fantastic. I don't mind those. I think a lot of people have YouTube channels that do firearms reviews or any other type of review. Get some trolls every once in a while that just want to stir up some stuff, and you know, usually look at the person's channel and they have no reviews of any firearms, and yet they're on your channel either putting you down or saying what you have isn't what you have. You know, I kind of just ignore those people, but I just want to address it because I do appreciate all the people who have genuine comments and actually enjoy the videos, because that's all I'm here to do. Now I want to give a big thank you and a shout out to 1957 Shep. If I'll link his channel down in my down in the information section, but again, it's 1957 Shep. If you want to see a great channel with lots of great firearms, from modern to classics in great condition, fantastic condition, his channel is the one to go to. He's got so many different firearms. And at the beginning of my channel, he and I were having a friendly banter back and forth about, you know, who can put up the most, you know, really good older firearms, good condition firearms, and it was great fun. We've remained in contact through messages, YouTube messages and things like that. He's a really great guy. He shouted me out, I think, twice on his channel, and I'm sure some of the people watching this are from his channel. So I just want to say thank you to 1957 Shep. A link to his YouTube videos will be in the description below. And thanks again to all my subscribers. I'm going to try to be making more and more videos as this new year rolls on. Hope everybody had a great holiday and a happy new year. And look forward to more shooting videos this year. And I've got a whole bunch of guns still to review. I think next I'll have my 1877 Colt Lightning. And I have a letter from Colt on that one, produced in November of 1877, first model run, 4-digit serial number. It's a sheriff's model, short barrel. So I'll put that one up next. I think these letters are interesting, and I enjoy bringing them to you. So talk to you guys later on. Thanks for subscribing and watching.